Broxigar the Red is a character you guys all love, whether you know every detail about him or just how he died. He's a pretty damn famous character, and so that's why in today's video, I decided to do a top 10 facts about him. He's a badass and he definitely deserves to shine in the spotlight. Number 10. During the Third War, Broxigar along with a group of Horde soldiers held a critical pass in the mountains against the Legion of Demons. Although they were outnumbered, Broxigar was able to hold the pass and fight like a true legendary warrior, slaying countless demons and doing the orcs proud. However, this victory came at the cost of every single one of the soldiers that he fought alongside with. He was the only survivor. Because of this, Broxigar was consumed by guilt and shame. Even though Thrall and the Horde viewed him as a war hero, Brox himself saw him being alive as him not doing everything that he could have done to give it his all that very day. Ever since then, Broxigar has gone out of his way to find a glorious death so that he could rid himself of that guilt. Number 9. After Broxigar was sent back in time to the War of the Ancients, he was caught sneaking around a Night Elven house. As guards began to rush him, part of him recalled the urge to die a glorious death, to fight and kill as many as he could before he would be struck down. But his other self recalled the teachings of Thrall, to fight honorably and to not kill without reason. Refusing to disgrace his war chief, Broxigar fought but did not kill. He incapacitated numerous guards, and as he was about to actually make his escape, a priest of Elune summoned a silvery light which bathed Broxigar and sapped most of his strength. One light alone was more than enough to subdue any soldier. But this was not any soldier. This was Broxigar. One spell alone was not enough to stop him. Broxigar kept fighting. He would not give up. At the end of the conflict, 3 entire spells were required to fully incapacitate Broxigar. Number 8. After Broxigar was knocked out and placed into a prison, he was mocked and abused by the other Night Elves. They laughed at him, gasped at him, poked him. They did everything that they could to piss him off. Only one Night Elf showed him respect: Tyrande. When Tyrande was talking to him, Illidan thought that he was trying to attack her, so without really thinking things through, he casted the spell which scorched away the flesh from Broxigar's fingers, greatly injuring him. Infuriated by Illidan's rash behavior, she scolded him for overreacting and then asked Broxigar for permission to heal him. After deciding to trust her, Tyrande managed to completely heal Broxigar's fingers, greatly surprising Broxigar and the other 2 guards who stood beside his cage. From this point on, Broxigar would refer to Tyrande as a valued friend, and would even let her call him by his full name, Broxigar, which was something he did not let anyone call him by, only his closest friends and respected allies. Number 7. At one point during the War of the Ancients, Cenarius' Sanctum came under attack by a pack of fellhounds. During the midst of the battle, Ronan raised his hand at Broxigar and thinks about killing him right then and there. He thinks this because he is worried that Broxigar would distort the time way without knowing it, therefore leading to an alternate future such as one where the Legion would actually win the War of the Ancients. However, honor forbade him from doing it. He knew that all logic supported this act, supported killing Broxigar, but he just couldn't bear himself to actually strike down such a valuable ally that was also at that minute in time fighting fellhounds and defending Cenarius' Sanctum. Ronan then felt ashamed for even considering such an act. He lowered his hands from pointing at Broxigar and began casting spells at the fellhounds. Number 6. One of the reasons why I love Broxigar so much is because he has the warrior badassery of a true orc, but also the respectful level head of a Saurfang. At one point during the War of the Ancients, Broxigar tries to cut his way through the forest with his axe. However, the forest is alive and does not let him just carelessly swing away at them. So they use their vines to take his axe away from him and incapacitate both Ronan and Broxigar. When Malfurion sees that this is happening, he communes with the forest and tells them that both Ronan and Broxigar do not have the connection to the forest domain like he does, and they did not know that such acts would enrage the forest. After saying this, the trees gave Broxigar back his axe, and Broxigar immediately goes down onto one knee and sincerely asks for forgiveness from the forest for, hacking and slashing them down with his axe. Malfurion smiles approvingly, and then says that they accept his humble apology. Number 5. In the middle of the War of the Ancients, Malfurion enters a sleeping state, giving his dream form the ability to travel to Zinajari, where he had hoped to destroy the portal, giving the demons access into their world. However, he becomes trapped when Xavius sees his spirit form and manages to trap it inside of a crystal vial or some sort of crystal container. I don't really remember specifically what it was. However, as he was trapped in his dream form, he began to starve and dehydrate in his physical form because he was unable to actually get back into his body and eat and drink. Broxigar, seeing Malfurion as a valued friend, offered to give him a quick death with his axe rather than seeing his friend suffer and starve to death. Although Tyrande wished and hoped that it would not come to that, she respected Broxigar even more for offering him a warrior's end. Later on, when there is still no improvement from Malfurion's condition, Tyrande catches Broxigar muttering a prayer to his ancestors, asking them to help guide Malfurion back into his physical body. Number 4. Broxigar was perhaps the one soldier out of all of those present during the war that had the most experience with the Burning Legion. Despite this, however, the Night Elven officers never once asked him for his advice. Although they valued his skills with an axe and his brutality as a warrior, none of them saw him as really nothing more than a brute, a barbarian. They would never invite him into their homes, let alone ask him for his advice in the upcoming battles that would definitely reshape their world. However, Malfurion saw this as a huge flaw in their thinking and thought to himself that perhaps Broxigar had more to teach all of them about the demons than Ronan or the other Night Elves could have possibly done. Number 3. During one night, after a devastating battle against both the Kaldrai defenders and the Legion, Illidan makes his way to Tyrande and begins talking about his feelings for her. However, as the conversation drifts on, he realizes that she has already chosen Malfurion over him. Anger begins to fuel him. He starts raising his voice, down-talking his brother, and saying how, she should be with him, not Malfurion. As his anger grows, energy from his hands begins to emerge. Magical energy. He would never think of hurting Tyrande, but he was very heated at this moment and, really pissed off that he could not control his emotions whatsoever. As the conversation ended, he rushed away from her, and Tyrande noticed a figure behind her. It was Broxigar. He had watched the conversation unfold to see if Tyrande was in any danger throughout the whole conversation. When she recognized that he was there to protect her from Illidan, she asked him, "You came back here because I was with Illidan, didn't you?" Broxigar responded, "This unworthy one owes you so much, shaman." He then looked at Illidan and flexed his fingers. "And I owe that one something more." Number 2. Ever since Broxigar first met Illidan, he had disliked and distrusted him. The only reason he put up with him at all was because he was a friend of Tyrande, who he respected very much due to her kind nature and deeds, and also because Illidan was the brother to Malfurion, another respected ally that Broxigar would not hesitate to give his life for at any point in time. However, when Illidan feigned an allegiance to the Burning Legion and Broxigar and Malfurion didn't know that it was a feigned allegiance, they both saw it as an outright betrayal. Broxigar hated him. He hated him more than any other creature or enemy that he had fought. He even hated Illidan more so than the demons who he fought, for at least they were true in their nature. They wanted to serve Sargeras and purge life, while Illidan, in Broxigar's eyes, had betrayed them all of the Kaldrai defenders, for nothing more than power. To Broxigar, blood was the ultimate tie. It bounded oaths, commanded allegiances, and marked a true warrior. He could not comprehend the fact that Illidan did what he did to not only his Night Elven people, but to also his own blood and kin, Malfurion. At that point in time, Broxigar and Malfurion were held prisoner by Illidan, Captain Varothan, and the demons, but he stated that if his hands were not bound together, he would have gladly given his life in order to snap Illidan's neck. Number 1. Several times during the war, Broxigar jokes with Crassus about if he would compose him a glorious death song should he die. He usually said this when he would embark on a suicide mission, such as when he and Malfurion infiltrated Deathwing's lair, attempting to steal the demon soul. At another time, Broxigar and Crassus would talk about how Broxigar was aging. Brox would say how he was old and sluggish compared to his youthful days, stating that there would be no more tales passed on about his glory in battle. Crassus, however, responded by saying that Broxigar was worth 20 young Orcish soldiers and that there was still much more glory and heroism left within Broxigar. Also, many more tales would be passed on about the orc, even if Crassus himself had to spread the word through his own mouth. This truly flattered Broxigar since he viewed Crassus as an honored elder, seeing as to how Crassus was a dragon who lived many thousands of years while Broxigar was only mortal. After the end of the war, Crassus would keep true to his word. Disguised as an elder shaman, he came to Thrall and told the war chief of Broxigar's heroism during the War of the Ancients, how he slew so many demons it would take days just to count the bodies, how he died in such a blaze of glory that no mortal had ever died in before, falling after delivering a blow to the Lord of the Legion himself. He told Thrall to tell tales, to sing songs of great Broxigar, for it was because of him that the world is what it is for all living beings.